and a doctor.
I'm your co-host, Judy Grant, licensed marriage and family therapist.
And I'm your co-host, Dr. Sophia Grant, board-certified pediatrician and board-certified child abuse pediatrician.
All right, here we go. So, Candy, I told you that I had an event to attend yesterday.
Yeah.
It was called Sisters Coming Together in Community. Just a lovely event of women of a certain age all coming together to share resources, share stories, and network and in fellowship in community. And it was a really lovely event. And to see so many women taking the time out of their day, their Saturday, to connect with one another, it was really special. The event started with 3 young tap dancers.
Oh, nice.
It was so much fun. They were so sweet. There was a DJ, there was a band, there were presenters, there were vendors. It was just a really nice afternoon.
Now, my question, did you get any leads for potential guests for the show?
You know, I didn't get that, but I did get these earrings.
Oh, okay. That we can't have a show about the earrings, Judy. You have to be networking. Now, everything is an opportunity for a guest.
Okay. I'm sure I can rally, and I can definitely come up with 1 or 2.
Okay. All right. Well, today I am absolutely thrilled to have Dr. Shirley Jones on the show. Shirley and I go back way far to the 90s when we were in medical school. She lived right next door to me in our apartments while we were at Meharry Medical College. And, you move on, you graduate, you don't see people, and then Facebook happens. And then people you may know, and then you connect. I mean, people have a lot to say about that platform, but I love connecting with people who I haven't seen in forever. And I know about her daughter, she knows about my kids, and I reached out to Shirley to ask her to come on the show today. So welcome, Dr. Jones.
Welcome. Hi, so nice to have you with us.
It's nice to be here and great to see you again, Sophia.
Thank you. So, you know what, on Facebook, Shirley talks about her vegan lifestyle, and she is a physician promoting the vegan lifestyle. And we know that so much of what we eat promotes inflammation. And we know that a plant-based diet is the way to go for me, but it's really difficult. But Shirley has personal experience in that area, and she's also written a book called The Transition, 10 Steps to Plant-Based Eating. And I just want to talk about what led you to plant-based.
Well, while in residency, I was pregnant and I developed gestational diabetes. I developed pregnancy-induced hypertension. Then I actually went into preeclampsia.
Oh, gosh.
And as a resident, they don't put us on bed rest.
Right. That's like the trifecta of, bad stuff in pregnant.
And I don't know if you remember, I was OB.
Yeah. Oh, you did
I
OB?
was OB residency in Henry Ford in Detroit. And, my professors was like, oh, no, you can't. You have to be on call. You can't be sick. So I continued to swell up. I was sicker than my patients. Yeah. And then finally, I went to my high-risk OB, and my reflexes were out the roof. And she was like, we're inducing you today. And this was 36 months.
36 weeks.
36 weeks, I'm sorry. 36 weeks. And so I was like, okay, and so I delivered.
But I'm on call.
Yeah, I'm on call. And she was like, go straight to the hospital, and to my hospital where I was the resident. And they induced me. I had the baby, and I was so sick that the baby got to go home. which is my daughter, and I didn't. I stayed in the hospital for about a month.
Are you serious?
They could not get my blood pressure down. They could not figure out what was going on. Um, at Meharry, I used to have migraines, but what they came up with is they found out that it was probably undiagnosed high blood pressure, and the migraine medicine they were treating me with probably was why it was lowering my blood pressure. And so they think that would, but they talked about me, taking a kidney to get my blood pressure down. It was just crazy. And then basically I told them, well, my blood pressure is not going to go down if I'm in the hospital and the baby's at home.
Right.
So I got to go home. But then I was readmitted for another 3 weeks, within less than 24 hours. And so at the end of that ordeal, I came out and I literally had a counter full of medicines. And I was like, this cannot work. And you probably remember I was a lot heavier in medical school. Because the stress of medical school, we ate anything and we would
pizza. Yeah.
And so I had gained so much weight in medical school. And so I decided, I need to figure out what I need to do. And I started doing research of how to get myself back healthy. Because the rate I was going, I was not going to be around to raise my daughter. Because I also became a single parent. And so after that, I actually went vegetarian first because I noticed
cold turkey.
Yeah, because I noticed, regardless of all the diabetic medicines I was on, even insulin, it was still not controlled. But I noticed when I did eat meat, then my blood sugars were controlled.
When you didn't eat meat?
No, so I was vegetarian first. So I kept my fish, but I did, and I kept eggs, and I kind of backed off of cheese, but I'm not a big, because I'm lactose intolerant, so I don't eat a lot of cheese anyway. And so I did that for about 26 years. Yeah, it was about 26 years. Then I went through menopause, and after doing that, I came off all the medicines. I may have been on like 2, but I was, exercising, eating right. And then I hit menopause and everything just broke loose. My hemoglobin A1C, my blood sugar started going up, cholesterol was going up. And I was like, okay, I did this before and I got myself, and I was still exercising.
Right.
I need to try, because I knew that the diabetes responded to the meat. So I was like, I'm going, totally no animal products. I'm going vegan. And then I'd start studying more about how the body works. And then I got into functional medicine and realized, everything we do, 80% of the diseases are because of lifestyle and our choices. So then I realized I need to be more intentional. So that's how all of this started. And I pulled out of corporate medicine because I just felt like, here it was, I had the key to treat my patients, but I'm treating my patients different. Because, when you're in corporate medicine, you have to
do what they tell you.
Right. And so that's how I began the business, St. John's Direct Primary Care, which is concierge direct primary care membership.
Membership. Okay.
Right.
How long have you been a concierge doc?
5 years.
Do you like it?
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Really?
Because I'm able to, I don't have to see as many patients, and then I'm able to sit down and educate. Because as physicians, we should be educating people about lifestyle choices and changes, and making ourselves whole, which also includes, what we think, reducing our stress, getting sleep, the whole gamut, because we just don't exist as, medical, physical.
Right. But
Mm-hmm.
the limitations are on us, because in typical practice, you're allotted 15 minutes per visit. And that was always a source of frustration. It's one thing if a kid comes in with an ear infection, but if it's an ear infection, a UTI, and behavioral issues, there's no way you can do it in 15 minutes. And then some practices will say, well, have them come back. But, you have a parent taking off of work. It's just not feasible. So in my specialty, we get an hour and a half per patient because it takes a lot of talking and education and things like that. Mm-hmm. So for somebody like a regular, like I'm not a big meat eater, but like maybe 4 times a year, I do enjoy oxtail, and I don't eat pork, but I eat chicken routinely and fish. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What is one of the, and I see a lot of veggie burger and all of this stuff. And I'm like, why are you trying to make something taste like a meat? Like I have a problem like, oh, this is vegan hamburger. And meantime, it has so many preservatives and chemicals to get it to taste. What's the point? I think it's promoting inflammation. But what's your take on that, Shirley?
Well, as a vegan, we don't, so there's plant-based and then there's vegan. So mm-hmm. Plant-based, the government instituted all this processed plant-based mm-hmm. meat, which is not good for us because it's GMO and it is processed and preservative out the wazoo. So as a vegan,
and sodium too,
and mm-hmm. the sodium and the sugars and the mm-hmm. dyes, which are all inflammation. So you're absolutely right. So in my book and in me helping my patients, I talk about substitutions, but whole food substitutions. Mm-hmm. So I don't promote eating those type burgers. I promote making your own burgers out of mushrooms, out of mm-hmm. tofu, mm-hmm. out of chickpeas, out of mm-hmm. lentils, and you make your own burgers. So the thing about going plant-based and truly healthy plant-based, you can't be lazy.
Mm. It requires a lot of work.
Yeah. And you got to cook for yourself. But the thing is, you have to put it in perspective. What's the most important thing in your life? What should it be?
Your mm-hmm. health.
Yeah. My existence. Yeah.
Your existence. We mm-hmm. can't do anything without our existence. So why would we monitor a car? We take them in and we pay mm-hmm. attention to the gas we put in.
The oil. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
oil, the right oil. We monitor our homes, and then we treat our bodies any type of way. We put trash mm-hmm. in our bodies and then expect to be healthy. Yeah. So mm-hmm. the thing is, there are so many ways to, if you prepare, then you won't have to prepare so much. So mm-hmm. like I make my own mayonnaise. I make my own meat. I make my own everything, ketchup, mm-hmm. sauces, and I just put it in a glass bottle and put it in the refrigerator. So plants, number one, do not have taste. So you mm-hmm. have to use your seasonings.
Yeah, Black people were used to seasoning. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then number two, you have to basically, it's whole food, so there are no preservatives. So you can't make a lot of it and store it. You have to make just enough for like a couple of days because it will mm-hmm. go bad because mm-hmm. there are no preservatives. And so once you get used to it, it really doesn't take. But the thing is, when you go plant-based vegan, you have to cook. You can't mm-hmm. eat at all places. Yeah. Now, I'm sure in California, you all have a lot of options.
Yeah, there seem to be vegan mm-hmm. options wherever you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the South, in Florida, and there are not many options. So
yeah, that's mm-hmm. yeah. I remember when I went to Meharry in Tennessee, and I was at the supermarket, and I saw for the first time a literal tub of lard, yes. And that had been used as an insult in our childhood when people were overweight, and I'm like, what is that? And it's literal fat in a plastic container, and it's not like it's just like a gallon or two. Yeah. So just quickly, how do you make your own mayonnaise?
So I only use plants. So with the mayonnaise, what we do is we have a vegan type of egg. So you can use avocado, gives you the consistency of egg. You can, for the milk, you can use like coconut milk, oat milk. I kind of stay away from, because people who are gluten, they may not have, can't do the oat milk, but you know, there's so many different types of milk you can use. And then you use your spices and however your flavor is. And it will give you the consistency. It will give you the consistency of the mayonnaise. So how I promote people going plant-based is whatever how you normally cook, start with substitutions. So if you like chicken, they're like the lion's mane mushrooms, the different type of mushroom have the different textures of the meat. And so you substitute those. And so you can use your same seasonings that you would prepare your dishes with. But what you do is you have to season more because plants do have a flavor. Whereas meat has a flavor. So you just get an extra seasoning. But once you get the hang of it, you know, the texture and the taste is what satisfies you. And so you can make your oxtail. They're called voxtails, vegan oxtails.
What is the meat substitute?
Yeah.
They use. I've had it at. That never appealed to me. Oxtails. So I only tried it, but she used jackfruit.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that jackfruit, and then you know what I've seen is chickpeas, garbanzo beans, the water that it's in, you can whip that up and it's like the consistency of a meringue. Did you know that, Judy?
No, I didn't
like
know that,
if you're
but I love a garbanzo bean.
If you're substituting eggs and you need a meringue, you can really whip that up. Yeah.
Or you can just use the juice from it and do it.
That's what I'm talking about. Pour off the beans. Yeah. So now
walnut. Walnuts.
Yeah,
if you add walnuts,
I've seen that.
You make a great hamburger.
Now, what are some common things that are just like super easy to do? Like it's not a lot of work to do. Like, you know, I've seen the walnuts for hamburger meat and things like that. Can you think of any things that are just like, you know, suppose I don't want to go full vegan what's an easy substitution?
Okay, so let's take a meal that you like to make. Tell me a meal you like to make.
Okay, I like to make salmon in crispy salmon with the skin on that my sister is like disgusted by. And
I love the salmon, not the skin.
And grilled asparagus. And I will have like say rice made with coconut milk. That's like a classic meal for me.
Okay. So the only thing you would really, we'll talk about your substitute is because your asparagus is plant.
Right.
I'm not sure what you cook your asparagus in.
Butter and salt. Like I grill it.
But there's vegan butter.
Yeah. But you know, sometimes I use olive oil. So, I mean, that's easy. The thing to substitute would be the salmon. I could eat salmon every day.
Agreed.
So the salmon is the hearts of palm. You buy a can of hearts of palm.
Right.
And you take your fork and you split them open and they become like fillets. It has the texture of salmon and fish. You can also use it for crab cakes if you want to, but you use that. And then what you do is you buy what's the name of them? They're like flakes of seaweed because it gives it the fish taste, and you crumble it up over it. And then you use if you want to fry it, you use wet and dry batter made of whatever. But what you could do is then you could mix it in together, put your marinade on it like you would with your salmon, and then bake it in the oven. or however you do your salmon.
Yeah, I use an air fryer. I love an air
Oh,
fryer for cooking fish.
and just remember the seasons you use for your salmon, use a little bit more
Right.
for
Just,
right.
to take the flavor.
So,
Yes.
Shirley, question.
Yes.
After you made this switch to vegan, did
Yes.
you then, get your blood work done and see those numbers declining even further than when you were vegetarian?
Yes, I actually end up losing about 60 pounds. I don't have diabetes anymore. I don't have high blood pressure anymore. I don't have high cholesterol.
That's
Wow.
fabulous.
And
I,
did that
I am
happen
64 I am 64 years old and I don't have a pain.
so
Good for
did that
you.
happen over the course of several months, or was it like this drastic change that you felt and that was evident in your blood work?
So in my blood, well, with diabetes, we check it every 3 months, unless
Mhm.
it's if it's pretty maintained, then you go out a little bit longer. But the change of cholesterol and diabetes, it was over like 3 or 4 months.
Wow.
Because you only check it every 3 or 4 months.
Right,
But the
Right.
right.
Sure,
energy,
sure.
the change was within 2 or 3 weeks. I was no
Wow.
longer sleepy. I was no longer having problems sleep. Because, with menopause, I was waking up in the middle of the night,
Mhm.
peeing and all of that. And all of that changed.
Do you find that you have to supplement this vegan diet with other vitamins or minerals? Does that come into play?
Yes, now that's it's not just vegan, is our diet, period,
Okay.
in the United States. Everyone
Right.
needs to supplement with vitamin D because most of us do not stay enough time
In the
out in
sun.
the sun.
Right. Right.
So most people are vitamin D deficient. And
Mm-hmm.
then I do B12 because now that's the biggest thing because that's produced by your gut. And even though my B12 is a little bit better than the average person because I have good gut bacteria. And then I suggest all adults have a pre and probiotics, especially if you're eating processed foods.
Mhm.
Your gut is your immune system, which we don't
Mhm.
promote enough
Right.
to get people to understand that um, we need fiber. Most people do not eat enough fiber or drink enough water, so they have constipation. They,
Mhm.
bloating after they eat. They have gas and all of that. And being a vegan, since plants are a very fiber, they're all fiber.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the bathroom and have bowel movements 2 or 3 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
If and I
Now,
tell my patients if
mm-hmm.
they don't, then they're eating too many starchy vegetables.
Like
Right.
corn, my favorite.
Yes, like
Um,
corn,
Potatoes.
beans, and because beans you have to soak them overnight because you can get the
mm-hmm.
dry. You
Right.
soak them
Mm-hmm.
Right.
overnight, help the gas come out of them. But once your system gets used to them, you won't be gassy. And then a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people eat it. A lot
Eat
of
what?
people do cheese.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Cheese is
that's more
constipating.
starch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but I love those things.
Mm-hmm.
So substitution is you get
Substitution. Yeah.
lentil noodles.
Okay.
You
Mm-hmm.
can make your bread out of sweet potatoes.
Ooh, that
Yeah.
sounds good.
That sounds good. Our father who died 36 years ago, Daddy was like the fittest guy, and he used to talk about crude carbohydrates. Remember
Yep.
that? And
Of course I remember.
staying away from things that are heavily processed. And, I have to say, there's a store that everybody loves, and if you go to it and you walk, everything is so over processed, and that is Trader Joe's. It's
Yes.
convenient. It's convenient. Everybody loves it, but like it's so highly processed. Now, I'm not saying not to go there because they do have vegetables and they do have good options, but you have to
Mm-hmm.
make sure most things that are convenient and easy, it's not going to be
They're
good
over
for you. You're going to
processed.
have to work for your health. Yeah.
Right.
So what's a source of protein that people kind of overlook? Plant-based protein.
Like broccoli, spinach,
Broccoli has
all your
protein?
legumes. Yes, most
I
plants
didn't
have
know that.
protein. And if you combine your beans, like your black beans, red beans, they have a lot of protein.
Yeah, I knew
Garbanzo.
about that.
Hmm.
Yeah. Pinto beans I know are especially good.
Pinto beans,
Yeah.
kale, bok choy. They don't
Yeah.
have as much as some of the other ones, but they have
Right.
protein. Right.
Right.
Now, in the pandemic, I kind of got on this like kick of making smoothies with spinach and mango. It was delicious and I felt so good. And then I was doing my research and then I realized that spinach has a lot of oxalate, as does
Hmm.
kale. And if you consume too much of that, you can develop kidney stones.
Right.
So I kind of backed off on that. So I think, a lot of this stuff is really good, but you have to make sure you have variety and you don't kind of get in
Yes.
a dietary rut.
Yeah. Well, Candy,
Exactly.
it's everything in moderation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even if you are vegan, you still need to be mindful that you're not overdoing it in one area over another.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because variety is the spice of life.
Right.
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 Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It has to be balanced.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my I there was a time that I felt that I wasn't quite vegetarian, but I was on the verge. Partly because I just didn't have any money and I was, graduate student. Um, but I found then that, there was no difference in like I shouldn't say no difference. Like I still was able to continue to be healthy, and get the energy that I needed from the foods that I was eating, and like I learned how to cook in a different way. That was like my first time like, ooh, I can stir fry anything.
Right.
Right. um and I know it also probably helped to manage my weight at the same time. Yeah. But there are a lot of vegetables that I don't like, and that kind of
Mm-hmm.
scares me. Like you mentioned mushrooms a few times. I still can't eat a mushroom. It's
And you
just
know how I feel about mushrooms, but I think they have some with
There
a
are different
different
types of
texture.
mushrooms.
yeah, it's I think it's a psychological thing, Candy, from when we were kids and we saw mushrooms growing in the grass and people's lawns,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I just can't get beyond it. But I think when you're talking about these other items, whether it's beans or a kale,
Walnuts.
Lentils. Lentils.
nuts, yes,
Nuts. Right. Nuts.
lentils, garbanzo beans. I think those are things that I didn't automatically think about that I could utilize, as opposed to a burger made of mushrooms. Yeah, that's never going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Jackfruit. Jackfruit
Mm-hmm.
is
Right.
great consistency.
Yes, and my daughter's boyfriend is vegan,
Hmm.
and she's learned to cook with him, and they do a lot of jackfruit.
Hmm.
Um, and they'll make something, bring it home, like, "Mommy, you got to taste this." I'm like, "Okay, I can get
Mm-hmm.
behind this." And when he's coming for dinner, um, I I'm very intentional with what I'm making for him, to ensure that he has a good meal. But it's not in my wheelhouse. But I really try to make sure that everybody is comfortable in my home when they're
Mm-hmm.
sitting down to eat.
Correct.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
Now,
But the thing is, it's just learning. It's just
right.
It's
learning.
there. You
You know,
go.
you can't
There you
say
go.
I'm gonna go plant vegan and
Mm-hmm.
don't do your research, because then you
Right,
will end up with problems like eating too much kale or you know
right,
that
right.
type of. You have to learn which vegetables have what. You know, it has to be the spice variety. And
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
so what I teach in my book is there are four things as a vegan going to a plant-based, I call it a plant-based diet because I
Mm-hmm.
vegan is actually a lifestyle. which is animal
Right.
compassionate. But the plant base is you need the fatty vegetable, what I call it the starchy vegetable, which are like your
Okay.
beans, your lentils. Then you need your green vegetables, and we do 4 ounces of each. Then your green vegetables, which are your bok choy, and it's so many. There are thousands
Spinach,
of plants.
lettuce, yeah,
Yeah,
arugula, all of this.
yeah, charts, all the different charts, and then there's the grains, which are more like, like if you
Quinoa.
want to do cauliflower, we call them cruciferous. So you do your cauliflower or your quinoa, all of that. And then
Quinoa has
fruit.
protein also.
Yes, quinoa has a lot of protein.
Right.
Where does rice fall into this equation?
With the quinoa,
Okay. Okay.
as the
All right.
grainy grains. Yeah.
All right.
And so if you do 4 ounces of that, of each of fruit also at your meals, then and it's after you cook. It's not 4 ounces before, because
Okay.
plants are basically water. So when you
Right.
Right.
cook them down, it will go down, and then you feel like
Yes.
you're hungry.
Right.
But if you do it afterward, you'll see how much it is, and it's a lot of food, and you will feel full. You won't have the stomach issues, the gassiness, and you have a lot of energy, and then you
Right.
just get used to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
Yeah, it's
there's
it's definitely a shift
right.
It's a
in the
shift.
way you see food, the way you create and cook the food. Yeah, there are various components to that vegan lifestyle, like you said,
Right.
and it's
But the
not
thing is,
just about the food.
right. And so the thing is to remember you use your same recipes. It's easier to use your same recipes and just substitute
Right.
than to try to create new recipes.
Right.
Because that's how people fail. Because then they don't season well enough, and then they're like, "This is awful." But if you use your own recipe, just do a substitution.
Right.
Right. Sure. Sure.
Yes.
So, a lot has been said about gut health and leaky gut. What does that mean? Because in medical school we didn't learn anything about leaky gut, but we know that your gut has a lot of immune Peyer's patches that help with your
Yes.
immune system. So we know your gut needs to be healthy. So talk a little bit about gut health.
So gut health actually, in my studies of functional medicine, I found out that it actually is it actually is our immune system modulator. So what happens is the lining of the gut has to have all the components of acid and all the right bugs in a good happy family in a medium balanced to maintain the lining. What happens is when people take antacids or eat processed food, it breaks down the whole atmosphere of the bugs that maintain the lining. And so the lining becomes leaky. And so then all the toxins leak through and get into your bloodstream and cause all type of inflammation. And they found out that this is related to people having a lot of major diseases, because even with people having bad, like not getting dental cleanings and having all the bugs in their mouth, it can go in through your gut and cause heart disease and heart attacks and brain plaques and cause strokes. And so the thing is to monitor your gut health. And so we were not taught, you're absolutely correct. We were not taught that in medical school. But we were also taught to give people antacids, and antacids are the worst for us because they actually reduce the acidity in our gut that our gut needs to maintain the lining.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
that's why when they came back, they said you're only supposed to be on antacids temporarily, like 14 and come off. But most people do it all the
All
time.
the time.
All the time.
Right. And that's because they're not paying attention to their bodies. Because our body tells us when you're giving it a food that it doesn't like. That's why you feel bad. So instead of us listening to our bodies, a lot of times we just go Papa Tom's. We go Papa, anti-acid.
Right.
And then we wonder why we got gas and we're feeling, or you're falling asleep after you eat. And your body is trying to tell you, I can't digest that. Why are you keep pushing that down me?
So is that where the I took notes, the pre
Yes.
and the probiotic come into play? So
Yes.
that helps to maintain the gut health?
Yes, it helps to maintain the gut, reintroduce the good bugs, and it balance them off. The pre and the pro. Yes.
Okay, so how do we what form can we get those pre and probiotics from?
Well, they're usually capsules.
Okay, because I also see it like on yogurts and other foods will kind of advertise that. No?
Yeah.
Okay, so just
So
stick
the
with
reason
the
why I
capsule.
say no to yogurts, because yogurt is milk based.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Okay. And so that's the other thing. Our diet was introduced to us by capitalism. Because if you think about it, what other animal feeds their young another animal's milk?
Yeah. Yeah. I
We're
mean,
the
there's
only ones that do that.
Yeah. There's a whole milk lobby. And remember, got milk,
Yes.
it does a body good,
Yep.
the milk mustache.
Yep.
That was kind of part of that propaganda. And, you're talking about capitalism. The concept of breakfast and having cereal was introduced by the Kellogg's company because back in the day, people's first meal was kind of leftover of what they had the day before, but Kellogg's changed it so that you felt like you had to have cereal. You had to have all of this. So we've definitely been manipulated. And, we have a cousin who is married to an American man, and he says, I just don't get how you can eat fish for breakfast. It's Eric. He's just cannot get over that. And, but there's nothing wrong with having whatever you had the night before for breakfast.
Right. It's food. It's fuel.
Yeah.
Right.
There's like you said, it's the propaganda. And so a lot of times, we're caught up in the propaganda.
Right. Right. Yeah. And you have to kind of unlearn that.
We have to teach people to unlearn, because there is, even if you think about it logically, milk is provided for the youth, for the young to strengthen. Why, as adults, are we drinking milk? It's the propaganda.
Yeah.
We should be drinking water or juice. If you make your own juices, not the juice in the store, it's sugar. And even using sugar. Sugar there are so many studies showing how sugar destroys. It increases inflammation. It just takes life away from us. It decreases age, and it increases, you all know.
Yeah. But can you kind of educate our audience on what's the big deal about inflammation? Can I just take an ibuprofen if I'm inflamed? Like, why is inflammation so bad?
So inflammation is bad because our body is basically run by hormones, and inflammation that you get from eating meat, dairy, all of that puts you into a stress. It stresses out your body, and it produces a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol then make you more inflamed, and being inflamed causes you to become insulin resistant. It causes you to put a plaque, and it puts you more likely to have cardiovascular events. Now, being in a stress situation in our body is good for fight or flight if there is
danger.
A reason why we
perceived danger.
Danger. But to live constantly in an inflamed actually breaks down our immune system and makes us more likely to get sick.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to ask
And
a
die.
question. So if I bump my knee,
Yes.
I'm going to see like, oh, there's swelling, there inflammation, right? So I can take an Advil for that. But if I'm eating something, how do I know? Because I'm not seeing swelling or anything. How do I know that that is causing inflammation?
Because if it's processed, if it's full of sugar, if it's meat products, because cholesterol comes from animals. Plants don't have cholesterol.
Right.
Oh,
Cholesterol clogs our arteries, which is, the arteries that take our blood
right,
throughout our body to deliver
right.
nutrients to the rest of our body. And, it clogs all of that up, which makes us more likely to have heart attacks and strokes.
Okay.
And the
So,
studies show that vegans and people that are plant-based are like 10 times less likely to have cancers, to have heart attacks, cardiovascular events. Actually, we
okay.
need to talk about obesity and inflammation, because chronic inflammation promotes obesity, which causes the insulin resistance, which is why we have a rise in diabetes and in our whole everybody.
So
Yeah.
let
And
me
kids are
just
bigger.
repeat that. Chronic obesity increases the
Chronic inflammation.
chronic inflammation increases the likelihood of obesity.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right. So
then,
by eating those foods that you mentioned, those just automatically create inflammation within. Okay.
Correct.
yeah.
Thank you. Talk to me
So,
like I'm 5.
yeah. So, what about naturally sweet things? Like, suppose I know vegans don't use honey, but what is a natural sweetener that you can use if you want, you, as Black people say, a little something sweet?
You can use fruit.
Mm-hmm.
You can use agave. A lot of times,
Agave.
people that want the sweet taste, if they're visiting me, I,
Mm-hmm.
use agave. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Or usually I'll use honey with them. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because that's animal product.
What was I going
Okay.
to say? Do you ever, when you have your patients, use yourself as an example? You say this,
Yes, yes.
and how do they respond to that? Because I think they would be more open instead of feeling like they're being talked at. They can be like, this woman knows what she's talking about. How do they respond?
They respond pretty amazing, because I usually don't push it. I
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
usually take a history and let them tell me where they are. And
Right.
most of
Mm-hmm.
them, when they come to me, they already know the spill, because they've followed me on all my
Mm-hmm.
social media platforms, or they've read my book, or they've seen me on podcasts. And so they pretty much have an idea. But then I start showing them pictures. I start, telling them about my lifestyle and what I do. And they're like, Dr. Jones, you're 64? Are you
Mm-hmm.
kidding me? And they look and they were like, you don't eat anything by animal? And I was like, no,
Yeah.
and
And
then
you're
they
still
start
alive,
getting
yeah.
interested. And I'm still alive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I still, and then I showed them pictures of several athletes that have testimony saying they have more energy and their performance is elevated by being a vegan. And so I
Mm-hmm.
showed them that. And then we just do baby steps. And that's
Mm-hmm.
Right.
why I came up with instead of switching, let's substitute.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
then substitutions are easier than switching and telling
Right.
someone you got to go totally. And what's amazing, over the years, a lot of people a lot of my patients do end up vegan,
Wow.
Okay.
because they start feeling so well, and
Uh-huh.
they look at themselves and they're like, wow, you know. But it's a process, like anything in
Right.
life. It's a
Mm-hmm.
process,
Mm-hmm.
because it
Right.
Mm-hmm.
starts in your mind.
Right. You're a
Right.
walking testimony. That's fabulous. That's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Thank you.
So, what would you substitute? Because I am definitely the person that's like, I want a little something sweet. Doesn't have to be a
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
big deal. Just, maybe after dinner, a little bite of something. Um, what is your go-to sweet treat?
So I try not to do anything sweet. I just grab an apple.
Okay.
And so let's talk about fruit, because fruit is really sweet.
Yeah.
The problem with why people don't feel fruit is sweet because they're buying fruit out of season. You have to buy fruit in season because then it's ripe. It's not
Right.
GMO ripe. It's not all the additives to make it sweet.
Sure.
But to go, get fruit that's in season and it's very sweet. And so if you want, you can make like brownies you can use bananas, dates, some agave with it. A lot of the dates, you can make the date syrup. That's actually way too sweet for me. I hardly ever use dates. But whatever you actually, like if you like a cookie, you can make, you can sweeten it with some dates. If you want to, we have chickpea flour. We have the different types of flour, so you can make your cookies. You can make peanut butter cookies.
Right. Okay.
With real peanuts.
Right.
And the thing is about freezing your ingredients is very good for it because it helps maintain them. Okay. So like if you want to pre-make, like when you do have time on the weekends, like you want to make your cookies, make the dough, put it in the freezer, and then when you want to, then you have your fresh cookies.
Right.
And then the cacao is, the chocolate.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. That's giving me some things
Coconut
to think about.
milk, you could do like a mousse.
Yeah, and I already use coconut milk. And although it's a good kind of substitute, you have to be, because it does have a lot of calories to, because when you open up there's that all of that fat on top. So let's talk about oils and what the best oil to use is. Ones that don't promote inflammation. We've grown up on corn oil and canola and butter and then
vegetable oil,
vegetable oil and olive oil later.
Now, avocado.
Right.
Yeah.
What are the oils that you would say, if you have them in your pantry, get rid of them, and what would you substitute?
Yeah, so get rid of all the ones you just said.
Okay. Avocado, corn,
all the safflower oils, all of those.
Okay.
Grapeseed oil is a good one for a high, like if you want to fry things. But people really don't have to fry it because they can get an air fryer.
I love my air fryer.
Some people still want like fried fish. So grapeseed oil. Now I will tell you all, I don't use oil. I actually use vegetable stock to stir fry, all of that. I use vegetable stock.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes.
Okay, we're both taking notes.
Okay.
I use a little vegetable stock in your wok, and then you start adding the vegetables that you want to add and the tofu. And and since you all talk about women of a certain age, the propaganda out there is that tofu is bad. Well, it's like we talked about before. If you do too much tofu, it's bad.
Right.
If you have, but enough tofu is enough where women who have hot flashes, it will help their hot flashes go down.
Because it's kind of like an estrogen substitute, not.
Right. I mean, it
has properties of estrogen. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So grapeseed for frying. Anything else? Coconut oil.
Grapeseed for things that you want to fry. Like that are like hot. Because the what do they call it? The temperature? How you have some oils that won't burn.
Yeah. Heat point. I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then you can use olive oils.
Right.
The olives, very good olives.
Okay, so olive oils are good. Great, because that's what I have.
Don't overdo it,
Right.
No, it's like Candy mentioned.
Can use the olive oil in like if you're making your mayo and you don't want to use the avocado, you can use olive oil.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That avocado mayo sounds delicious.
Oh, it's very delicious.
I love the avocado.
It sounds like it would be creamy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Very.
Yeah. Surely I have a lot of food allergies, like nuts are off the table, so many long
Okay.
list of things. There's a lot I would have to, really substitute. But I mean, Judy, what do you think? This is a lot of food for thought in terms of, like, could I do this? Now, Judy and I were going to in Jamaica in a couple weeks. I will not be doing that in Jamaica because
No.
we will have access to stuff we don't normally have
when you
access
come back.
to.
Yes.
But
Yes.
when we come back, we should probably do a little challenge and see, and it's tougher for you because you're cooking for your family. But I think I'd be willing to really, and I don't eat a lot of meat, but I'd really be willing to cut out the meat. Now, my thing in the past is like, if I have a salad, at lunch, like at 12, at 1:15, I'm hungry. And I have to have a protein source.
Not a balanced meal.
Right.
Right.
So
A salad.
how do I jazz up a salad to make it filling?
So is that where you add?
Because it's not enough.
So what do
remember I told
add?
you need 4 ounces. 4 ounces.
So maybe then, Candy, you add the tofu to the salad.
Okay.
Or you could do like a stir fry along with the salad.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you include in your salad some beans or, some garbanzo beans, red beans, what have you. Maybe that will be more filling than just lettuce and tomato.
Right.
But she still won't be able to put enough in there to keep her filled. That's what I'm saying. You're going to have something on the side.
Right.
Okay.
You know what, Shirley? I have seen your plates when you, like, online, when you show, like, a meal. And it's a lot of food. Like, if it were just like my regular food, I wouldn't be able to eat it. So I can see how if you sit down to a plate of plant-based stuff, your tummy's going to get full.
Very. Because I eat once a day.
You eat once a day.
And you don't get
around
hungry?
2, 3.
Do you drink coffee, tea,
I
or anything?
Fast. Well, I do because I drink my tea.
Okay. Speaking of fasting, this is like fresh off the presses. Some Japanese scientists just won the Nobel Prize because they demonstrated that your body needs fasting. They need a time of rest to renew and restore and heal. So although a lot of people say, fasting is bad or fasting, blah, 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 there's some science to back it up. And when I read that, I haven't read the study, I just read the news blurb. I'm like, okay, maybe this is something I can incorporate into my life to give it's just like if you're on a workout schedule, you give your body time to rest. So if you're going through the week and you're eating and things like that, your body needs to rest and restore and kind of, reset. And I was like, oh, wow, this is really good information. So it's no longer the kind of stuff because, we weren't taught that in medical school. Not that we went to a bad medical school, but the science behind it wasn't there. So, you hear about leaky gut and you're like, what is this, all this newfangled stuff? And that's why you have to make sure you go to a doctor who is up to date. Because if you are prescribing stuff that they don't prescribe, remember when we were in medical school, there was no antiretrovirals, there were no GLP-1s. I mean, it was like super back in the day. There was no internet. There was no internet when we were in medical school.
There was no internet. There was barely cell phones. Wasn't there cell phones?
No, the people who got...
I don't know. You didn't have cell phones.
No, but there were a handful of guys who had cell phones, and they were the ones who wanted to feel important. or you can talk offline about those guys. But and might I add that they're primarily surgeons now. But this is a lot of really good information. Shirley, do you happen to have your book handy? Is it within reach? To show hold it. Oh yeah. Okay. And where can we get the book?
The Transition.
Is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon.
I'm going to order it right now when I get off the phone. When did you write the book? When was it published?
This past summer.
Okay, all right.
So I just wrote the book.
Wrote it. You mentioned social media. So what is your social media account name so our followers can go and take a look at your content?
Ask Dr. DRJ.
Ask DRJ.
Right.
Okay.
Ask
and
Dr.
that's Instagram?
That's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Okay.
What's the other ones?
A little Snapchat? I don't know.
Whatever the other ones are. I'm asking.
TikTok. Okay. All right.
Because that wasn't out either when we were in medical school.
Please, none of that.
Might I say?
Okay. Well, I just want to.
I was going to say. I was going to throw a pun in there. This has been a very meaty discussion.
Oh, sorry.
This is food humor.
Pun intended. Pun intended.
I don't have a vegan version of meaty. This has been a jackfruit-filled discussion. But this is, I learn a lot when I take notes, and you have given us so much, again, food for thought.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, and it's just been great to see you. And congratulations on your health journey. You look great, and you need that energy to keep up with your baby girl, even though she's not a baby anymore. So,
baby anymore. Yes.
Congratulations!
Thank you so much for joining us, Shirley.
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I feel like I have a lot of things that I need to think about.
Yeah.
And, that next trip to the grocery store, I feel
read
is going to look a little bit different
Read the labels. Yeah.
And actually, in the book, I actually have for the pantry.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I talk about how to look through your pantry and and get staples.
Okay.
Perfect.
Excellent.
Perfect.
All right. Well, Candy, thank you for reaching out to Dr. Shirley Jones, bringing her on.
Thank you. It's been great.
So everybody, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to have Dr. Jones with us and talking about this vegan lifestyle, and just to have this as a part of our Tusoka community is really important for us, and hopefully for all of those who are listening.
Yes.
So, Candy, how can folks reach us?
Well, just want to buy Shirley's book at Amazon. It's called The Transition, 10 Steps to Plant-Based Eating by Dr. Shirley Jones. But they can reach us at tusokapodcast@gmail.com and on Instagram and Tusoka on YouTube.
Okay. So thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you the next time. Bye.
Bye.
No Longer Network.